Hi, everybody. Welcome to this quick little Zoom session or Google Meet session on Mastery Connect. I am recording it so we can then put this onto our website out for any parents who do end up missing our meeting. I'm going to ask that you use the chat feature if you have any questions. I am going to go through high school specific, and then I'm also going to go through middle school specific. If you did watch the videos that I put into the newsletter, I believe they were in the newsletter. I know that they were also, I believe Nicole also sent them out. Nicole Bostel also sent them out. This will be exactly like those videos. We'll be going through basically the same thing. So let me just let the couple last minute parents in here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I am recording this so that we can use this. All right. All right, I'm hoping we're all here. So for those of you who do not know, my name is Michelle Gasser. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction here at STEM School Highlands Ranch. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the secondary side of Mastery Connect. I'm going to go through the high school first, and then I'll go through middle school, and I'll be using, thank goodness I have one of each, a high schooler and a middle schooler, so I'll be using their grade book to kind of show you how to read that information in their grade book. So I'm going to end up sharing my screen here. And then let me see if I can admit these parents here. All right, so you should be able to hopefully see my screen. Uh-oh. Okay. So when you log in, the best way to log in is under your student. When you log in under your student, you're able to do more and see more and to explore more when you're looking at their pieces than you are as a parent. Let me admit this last parent here. Okay. So you're able to see more as a student than you are as a parent. You're also able to click on some of the assignments and to see what they are and what is being required of your student. So when you're on this main mastery tab, some of you might see this looking a little bit more like this when you log in as your student. One of the main reasons for that is because students really love this view, because this view is set up very much like a calendar and it tells them their to-do list. As a parent or as like an outside viewer, this view does not help me much. So I typically go to these three little dots and hit card view. So if you're looking at yours and you're like, why is mine looking different? It's for that reason. And hang on, I have a couple of parents that just came in a few minutes late here. Okay. So once you're here in this blue tab, you have this mastery button. What's nice about this mastery button right here in this blue tab is that this mastery button will show you an overall view of all courses for that follow standards-based learning. So when we're looking at grades for any AP or CE courses, because remember, I'm going through high school first, any AP or CE courses like his CE game design course, I will not be able to see that in Mastery. Okay, so we're going to go to this Mastery button here. When I'm in this mastery button, and it is a little bit slower because I'm on a Google Meet. So when I'm in this mastery button, what it'll show is it'll show his active courses and what his scores are in his active courses that that use standards-based learning. So I can see here that in Miss Wesley's class, he has some things that were turned in that received that's exceeding mastery, some where he's not meeting mastery, and some where he needs remediation. So I'm definitely going to look at that. What's nice about this page is it gives me that overall view of my student, and it helps me as a parent to say, hey, this is the teacher where you need to go for access, or you need to stay after school and do office hours in this class. So it's a very quick overview or a quick screen or snapshot of what my student needs. So once I'm in this screen, there's a couple of things that I can do. I can go to Miss Wesley's class, for example, and I can look at all of the assignments that he's turned in and see what he's scored on them. Or I can go back to the dashboard and I can look at in the dashboard the items that are like I can dig a little deeper. The one thing that I like about going back to the dashboard is I can get more detailed and a breakdown of standards. Whereas here, what I'm going to see is I'm going to just see all of his assignments that he's turned in. And these are the demonstration of knowledge assignments. So if I click on her name here, it says, first off, I don't have any activities. So I'm going to go to the assessments. And here what it's going to tell me is it's going to tell me everything that he has turned in as a demonstration of knowledge and what he needs to work on. If you notice, what's in blue are the standards. This makes it a little bit hard to look to say, hey, wait a minute, which one do they all fall under? Again, this is a great snapshot to look at and say, uh-oh, you need to go and work on these 2 assignments with your teacher. Okay, so it's just another way of looking at it. If I go back to this main screen, I'm going to go back real quick. This is where I was when I clicked on that mastery button. What I prefer as a parent is I prefer to say, oh, I need to look at what's happening here in Miss Wesley's class with my son to see where he needs some help. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. I'm going to click on English. And in his English mastery tracker, what's nice about this is it's going to tell me which standards he's doing well at. So I know I don't have to have him go and focus on his oral expression and listening, and I need him to go and focus on his reading for all purposes. More specifically, I need him to go work on these 2 assignments, and it looks like they're bringing down his grade in these other 2 areas. Okay, so this gives me more of a breakdown by standard. So if I open up all of these here, I can see all of the assignments that have gone into creating that grade. For high school, these will be averaged together to give you 1 overall grade. So in this class, I would add up the 3 plus the 3 plus the 3 and the 4, the 3, and so on to find out what his overall grade would be in the class. Hang on, let me admit, sorry, I have a couple of parents who are trying to get in. Okay. So when looking at this, I'm going to add this all together. This student, or my son in his language arts class, would get, and give me one moment, I should have added this before we chatted. 2 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, he ends up with a 2.3 in this class. So a 2.3 in this class means that he is going to end up with a C in reading. That means that he needs to bring up these 2 pieces in office hours this week in order to raise that grade, because those zeros are significantly lowering the grade. So all I'm going to do is add those together. to then determine and find the average of those to be able to determine what his grade would be. In high school, they will get 1 overall grade. So going back to that mastery piece, I would look at each one of these. Algebra, I would look at this. He's in green. That means his overall average in that class is going to put him in that B category. If I go into his algebra class and I add those all together and get the average of that, I will be able to see that he then has a B in his algebra class. I can look. This will average out to then falling within that B range. If I want to send him to remediation or to office hours, he can work on some of these and try and get his grade up to an A if he's able to before the semester ends. So looking at, that was our high school version. I'm going to go into my middle school version, and I'm going to stop sharing for a moment to be able to go into the middle school version, because middle school is going to be slightly different. It's going to look very similar in the beginning, but how we calculate, because they will be broken up by standards. So let me go into Canvas. Sorry, I just stopped sharing because I have to log in as my daughter. All right, so let me go back to the share here. So now I am in my middle school. My middle schooler, she's a 6th grader. I'm in hers. I can do the same thing. I can go into that mastery tab. Again, I'm going to use it the exact same way that I used the one for high school. I use this as a quick glance. I like to have my child pull it up once a week, and I say, okay, let me see where you're at. This is the office hours you're going to go to. I don't even get any further typically. Even with my son, I say, show it to me, and I don't get any further into looking at his assignments. I say, look, let's look at it. You're yellow in this class. That's where you're going for office hours. So it gives me that quick little conversation I can have with them. So if I go into one of her courses, I believe, oh, I should have checked a little bit. I think it was her health course. That was multi-standard, and I may have to go back out. Okay, so in her health class is split up into 3 different standards. So she will, on her report card, get a grade for physical and personal wellness. She will get a grade for social and emotional wellness, and she will get a grade for prevention and risk management. So there will be 3 grades. There will not be an overall health grade. So for middle school, there'll be 3 grades. Here, she has a green, which falls her into that B range. So for physical and personal wellness, if I were to average these together, she would fall into a B in that category. So she will get a B for physical and personal wellness. She'll end up with an A for social and emotional wellness. And even if I click on that and I average those together, she'll still fall into that A category. And then on her report card for prevention and risk management, she will fall into an A for those pieces. So again, middle school is going to be broken up into those standards categories where you'll have a grade for each one of those standards. And for high school, you will average those all together to get 1 overall grade for that piece. The easiest way to look at those is to go into the mastery button in the blue. And you can then go into each individual course by going into the dashboard. Those are probably your easiest ways of then looking at one of those grade pieces. I'm going to go into the chat here. I'm going to stop presenting for a moment and see if I can go to the chat and see what the questions were inside the chat feature. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Michelle, should I questions?
If you can't get into your mastery tracker, go ahead. You can send me a quick email and I can get you into the mastery tracker piece. A lot of it is just linking the two accounts together, or if your child, sometimes if they go by a nickname, the mastery tracker doesn't keeps trying to pick up the nickname. So send me an email if you do not get, or if you get a piece that says access denied when you try to get into mastery tracker, and I'll work on getting you access to that. I got the learning opportunities are what are needed for, are what the teachers use for feedback. So what's inside the mastery tracker is your demonstration of knowledge. The learning opportunities are not counted for the grade. They are there because the teachers use them for feedback. A majority of your teachers require that the students complete the learning opportunities before they have an additional attempt at making any corrections. So if a student does not score well on a demonstration of knowledge, a teacher will ask the students to complete the learning opportunities prior to getting another opportunity for a demonstration of knowledge. So just sending them to office hours, they will be asked to complete those learning opportunities first. Why is middle schoolers broken out by standards, not overall like high school? So in middle school, the standards-based learning feedback committee, it's a progression from elementary school. So elementary school is broken out by standards and they are moded, and then we move forward up into middle school. Those are then, and in elementary school, they're 4, 3, 2, 1. In middle school, they are done by standards so that you can still give that level of support. And then in high school, your courses are not necessarily broken apart in standards. Your courses are specialized. So for in middle school, for example, in math, you're teaching numbers and operations, you're teaching algebra and geometry in one course. Whereas in high school, you have an algebra course and you have a geometry course. So they're more specialized. Yes, the same view is available on the mobile app. I will tell you that I typically, I prefer to do it on a computer. The mobile app can be kind of restrictive. Not that it's restrictive, it's more restrictive in its view because you have to end up turning your phone sideways. And to me, that's just a hassle. But it's up to you as to what you want to do, but yes, you can use it in the mobile app. I did add my email address into the chat. So what is the average of A, B, and C? So if you're talking about for middle school, those will not get averaged together. Those will be one grade for every standard. So in high school, we're averaging those together, but in middle school, for example, in language arts, you will have a grade for reading for all purposes. You'll have a grade for writing and composition. You will have a grade for oral speaking and listening. All of the different standards. So you will not have one overall grade in middle school for the for each, or for the course itself. You'll have one for each of those individual standards.
Hey Michelle, one question, follow-up question on that. So say if I pick one standard, yes, I understand there are 3 standards, but if I pick one standard, so we need to average that, right? If there are 3 or 4 assignments, we add all of that and divide it by the number of assignments. So the number that comes out, how do we know whether it's a B or a A or a C?
Oh, right. So in the parent newsletter, I also put in this scale. It's also in the syllabus of of the teacher's courses, which is the grading scale is in there. For middle school, when you look at your colors, A blue will end up being that is in that A range.
Okay.
A B is in the green range, a C is in the yellow range, and then the D and the F, they fall into that red range together, that piece.
Right.
So when you're looking at those standards, or when you're looking at those standard categories and you see those colors, those will be most helpful for middle school to look and say, okay, you've got an A, a B, and an A, or an A, a B, and a C. This is the one you need to go and you need to focus on. It allows
Okay.
us to dial in a little bit more in middle school.
Okay, thank you.
What about the high school, Michelle? Like, can I use the same green, blue, red to determine, or do I have to average out and then say if it's 3.25 and above, then it's A. If it's a 3, then it's.
Yeah,
So I
so
can't do
the
two
colors,
fingers?
so the colors for high school are great for the for like your check-ins, right? I'm going to check in, I'm going to make sure, okay, you're all blues and greens, you're doing great, right? They're great for your check-ins. If you're looking for the overall grade at the end of the semester, you will average all of those together. So all of the individual assignments, very much like I did in the beginning when I had my sons open, I averaged his assignments together. I said he ended up at I don't remember what the number was, but it fell within that, it was a 2.3, and that fell within that C range. And then what it does for what I use the colors for is throughout the semester, I go, this is an area that color sends me that flag to say, you need to go to office hours, you need to go to access, you need to go get the support that you need to be able to raise that grade up.
Mitchell, when we say average, there are few assignments which are for 4, there are few assignments which are graded out of 8, there are few assignments which are graded out of 12. So how do we take an average for those? So is it like the number of assignments or only whatever is graded out of 4? We have few assignments which are graded out of 4, which are graded out of 8, which are graded out of 12, and so on. Yeah.
If they are graded outside of a 4, can you reach out to the teacher? Because they should be showing up as 4, and it might be that it was entered as, it might have been that it duplicated something, and there might be something that the teacher has to uncheck in their grade
No,
book.
actually the assignment itself is 8 out of 8. I mean, the assignment mark says as 8 out of 8.
Yes, but they should be in Mastery Connect out of 4. If you can reach out to the teacher, that would be the place that I would start. Or you can also send it to me, but I would probably reach out to the teacher and ask the teacher, because those should be out of 4.
Okay.
It might
because
be
I
that they
think-
were, it might be that when it was entered, that it was doubled. So it might be something that we have to take a look at, that it could have been duplicated.
I see a lot of assignments that they're out of 8, out of 12 as well. So
I would reach out to that teacher and I would see if that teacher, when they entered something in, if they entered something in incorrectly.
okay.
I saw something about the demonstrations of knowledge are not showing up in Mastery. They should be showing up in Mastery. I would reach out to the teacher as well and ask them about that a particular assignment and why that is not in Mastery itself, because they should be showing up in Mastery. And it may just be that, again, something was not checked properly when they inserted that grade into the grade book. Let me see. For AP classes and CE classes, you will not see, you will not use Mastery Tracker. Okay, let's see. Why do some say 100% of standards assessed? So what that's doing is all of the teachers have their standards for the entire year loaded into Mastery Connect. And as they progress through their units, they're assessing on those standards so that by the end of the year, 100% of those standards are assessed. So take, for example, a science class, or actually social studies. Social studies is a great example of this. In social studies, you have a history standard, you have a geography standard, you have an economic standards and a civics standard. In the 18 weeks that we have at the beginning of the school year, there's no way for them to cover all 4 of those in a very comprehensive manner to be able to give mastery grades. So what happens is the beginning of the school year, the focus in those classes, especially in middle school, will be on geography and on history. So it's building up that geography and that history piece. And a lot of times the economics and civics pieces won't come until second semester. So you'll see that certain standards will be hit at the beginning of the year more so, and then the remaining standards will be at the end of the year. So some courses, which are single standard courses or only have 2 standards all year and they have multiple pieces to it, might say that they have 100% of the standards assessed because it's a semester long class. For example, the health class that I showed you for my daughter was a semester long class. So they have to hit all those standards in that semester. When it is a year-long class, they might not hit all those standards and probably won't in one semester because they're going to continue with their remaining standards for the rest of the school year. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions in here that I did not answer. Cannot see scores on the Canvas parent mobile app for non-AP courses. For some reason, I cannot log into Canvas. If you are having difficulty logging in, I put my email into the chat. You can send me an email with what you see on your screen. I do know that sometimes the mobile app, like I said, on my phone, it requires me to flip my screen constantly, which is why I really like using it on the computer more so than on my phone. And I think it's a sizing issue on the phones. I would definitely reach out to any teachers that have any sort of, I read the piece about the 8 points and the 12 points. They should be out of 4 points. I know our coaches have been working with our teachers to make sure that those are fixed. The teachers have had extensive PD on using the mastery trackers. So I think those might be some individual bases. So yeah, some of the standards may only have 1 or 2 assignments. Those are standards that are ongoing. For example, our writing standard in language arts, they will have maybe a B up until this point in time, but they're going to be continuing working on that standard for the remainder of that school year. So it's a point in time. It's not like we stop writing in December and then start over in January. So it's just like your old report cards, whether it was that you had 3 essays that you turned in, it's where they're at a point in time in December. So report cards always have been, this is where they are in a year-long class at this point in time, based off of the expectations at this point in time. And then we continue learning in those language arts classes until the end of the school year. So the question was how to determine the grades, whether it's an A, B, or C in the course syllabus. And in the parent newsletter, there's the grade scale on there. So when you have the average, it's where they fall within that grade scale. So those are on the Canvas page under syllabus. Some teachers have it on their homepage, but it should be in their syllabus as well. And it's also in the parent newsletter, the different grade bands to say what constitutes an A, B, C, or D. Okay. I believe I have been able to answer any other questions. So for your year-long courses, so they have their grade, like if we're talking high school, they have their transcript grades, semester 1 and semester 2 for those courses. You'll see the same thing on your report card for middle school. Middle school is not a transcript. So middle school will be a report card. It'll have a semester 1 and a semester 2 grade. Regardless of whether they're a year-long course. If they're a semester-long course, you'll just see the semester 1 grade or just see semester 2 grade for those.
Michelle, can you repeat that for high school? Would there be one grade at the end of the year for high school?
So you'll end up having your transcript that has that semester 1 and semester 2.
And there will be no averaging of semester 1. So it's possible that my child can have a B so far, and even though he catches up in the next semester and overall it's netting A, it's possible that semester 1 shows as B and then semester 1 shows as A at the end of the year.
We don't go back and change the semester 1 grade. So because you wouldn't do that in a normal year, you end up getting that final grade on your transcript. So it's the same as it has always been on your transcripts, where you'll see your class and then you'll see the semester 1, semester 2 grade on that transcript.
And do you
piece.
know, so this is my first, my son's first time in the high school. So we're paying more attention to grades now. We haven't done that before. Do you know how colleges absorb that information?
It would be the exact same. And you can reach out to Kelly Myrick. She's our college and career, she changed her name. I think it's specialist, is now is her title, but it would be the same way that they have always looked at transcripts and the same as any of the other schools, because you'll still have your letter grade for each one of your courses, exactly like you do with any school that you're in. So it's not going to affect your transcript necessarily. Your grade that you have on your transcript will be the same as if you went to any public school. You'll still have A through F on your transcript.
And so so the question that I'm asking is, I don't know how the high school transcript looks like. So at the end of the year, would there be one letter grade, or would there be semester 1 and then semester 2?
So your official transcript, when you pull that up, will have the breakdown of semesters on the official transcript.
Okay. And so then semester 2 is pretty much like starting over and would be average based on truly the semester
From January. From
dimension.
January.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, in talking to my student, that's not the understanding that he had, because he has a B in chemistry and he's like, here's my plan and I'm gonna, catch up in the second semester and I'm gonna still net at A, so this is net new information for
So
me.
the transcripts are the way they have been for forever on the transcripts.
Okay.
Yeah, the transcripting has not changed. All of that has stayed the same for high school.
Okay, thank you. Could you give Kelly's email in the chat, please? And I'll reach out to her.
Kelly Myrick.
Thank you.
So
Michelle,
once the subjects are in transcript, they'll not be changing anything in the transcript again, right?
We don't change anything in the transcript. Nope. Our transcript is staying the same. So it'll read the same as it always has read.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Michelle, if a middle school student is taking a high school class, so the high school will
Mhm.
be an average of all of it, while the middle school will be three different standards, right?
Yes, yes. So that's a great question. If your student is taking a middle school, is a middle schooler taking a high school course, they will get a high school grade. So they will get 1 grade for the class. So let's say it's a middle schooler taking Algebra 2, they will get an overall Algebra 2 grade. That'll be either an A, B, C, D, or F. And then if it is a middle schooler taking a high school course, if the student gets anything lower than an A, we remove that from their transcript unless they sign saying we want that on our transcript. And we do that because we don't want it to affect a student's GPA, being that they're in middle school. If they choose to keep it on their transcript, they can. But we take that off. If they get an A, we give them that credit for it. Does the number of tardies affect grades or college admission? For grades, it's the way that it affects the grades is that the student is not there for parts of the lesson, so they're going to miss out on things. It does not subtract from their grade, no. As far as college admissions, I would reach out to Kelly Myrick and ask her that question. She has more information on what colleges look at as far as tardies than I do on that. So the row of standards, are they graded together? If you're in high school, they are averaged together. If you are in middle school, they are a grade for each one of those standards. So for high school, you'll click on the little drop down and you'll average them all together to get 1 overall grade for the class. For middle school, you will get a grade for each standard. I just want to make sure I answer any additional questions anybody has.
So when would those be corrected? Because I see when I am trying to see my son's Canvas, I see a lot which are graded out of 12, out of 8 and all.
Can you reach out to, you can include me on the email, but can you reach out to the teacher? That needs to be something that the teacher is fixing. It shouldn't be recorded like that. So it seems like there's something that when they input they didn't do it right. It seems like it's going up in multiples of 4. So it seems like something may have doubled. The teacher might not be aware of that. So please definitely reach out to the teacher and ask the question on that piece.
Okay.
Okay, one last question, Michelle. If we were to report middle school grades, say for outside scholarships or something else, how do we say since they have 3 different standards, how would we mention the GPA out of 4? Do you know, is that a question for the counselor?
We don't calculate the GPA for middle school.
Okay.
I mean, we really never have. You could count it the same way that they do in high school, which
Okay.
would be to average those together. That would be my suggestion. But we do not keep track of GPA in middle school.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure I provide enough wait time in case there's any additional questions. Thank you all for coming. Definitely reach out if you have trouble logging in, and we'll get you that support. Actually, no, you can see it from the parent app. You can also see Mastery. The question was, can you see Mastery only from the student login? No, you can see it from the parent app. You can also see it from the parent login in Canvas. I have complained over and over again about the parent part of Canvas. It's very limiting. I find that it's just easiest. I have my child log in and I'm like, hand me your computer. And I click on the Mastery button and look at the screen. And then we make, once a week, I make a quick, okay, you're all blue and green. You're good. You don't need to go to office hours. Uh-oh, you have a yellow. You have office hours in biology. And I just make it a really quick conversation once a week to do a check-in with my two. But you can see it from the parent version. It's just not as nice as the student version. Interesting. You should be able to see it from the Mastery piece. It might be that I have to link your account. So if you send me an email, we'll take a look at that, but you should have access to Mastery. If you are an observer of your student in their account, you should be able to see the Mastery. Again, I
Michelle,
think
on
that
that.
as a student is probably the best way to look at it.
Yeah, I'll try to get login for my student, but when I log in into the app and I click on the student, it shows me subjects. There is no button for Mastery Tracker. I'm able to click on the subject, and then it
Mhm.
shows me all the DOKs and the score out of 4 for those, or whether they are not scored. That's all I can see on the parent app.
Okay. If you can send me an email and we can see if your parent app might not be linked. We've noticed that there's a couple of parent app or a couple of Mastery trackers that the parents are not linked onto. So we can see if we can make sure that you're linked onto them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I know a lot happens at the beginning of the school year, and the Mastery links were sent probably in August, back when everybody was going to school and it was 1,001 emails. So it's very common that they don't get linked. And so then if you just let us know, we can link those together.
Okay, sorry, Michelle, one last question. If we do it for a high school course and say the average comes to 3.8, is that a B2?
A 3.8 would fall into that A range.
A range, okay, and that range is in your parent newsletter, is that what you mentioned?
Yeah, yep. So it's the A range is a 4.0 to 3.25.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, if nobody has any additional questions, thank you very much for taking the time. I know everybody's super busy to come and kind of see this. I hope I was able to answer some questions. Don't hesitate to, reach out if you need something. I would definitely start with the teachers first, because they're the ones that are in the assignments. I'm not. So they'll be able to answer some of the individual questions a little bit better than I will. So have a great rest of your day, everybody. And have a great holiday.